Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, the 17th of October, 2024. It's 8:45 a.m. here in Germany. This is the Insanity Report for today. This is going to be about actually two things. Well, first, I want to go quickly into the Kamala Harris interview with Bret Baier on Fox News. Now, again, it didn't really help her, right? Even though, I'll give her a little credit because she agreed to do that interview on what would ordinarily be like a hostile channel for her, a hostile interviewer for her. But Bret Baier was pretty softball with her, to be honest. Now, I don't commend him on that. I think he should have just, drove her into the dirt because that's what we expect. But he didn't do it. So I'm guessing that the only way they could get her is if he agreed to not touch on certain things. And the only way they would have her is if she agreed to at least give answers on some things. And that's what it looked like. It looks like it was a choreographed kind of deal where both parties benefited, but the public didn't benefit really at all because, once again, we really didn't get any other answer from Kamala Harris except for, well, but Donald Trump. And that seems to be the Democrats' main argument on everything. They don't have to have policies. They don't have to try to make things better. They don't have to acknowledge that Kamala Harris is part of the administration right now and has been for the last 4 years and could have done any number of things to improve the lives of American citizens, and she didn't do any one of them. They don't have to confront any of those things because their standard answer is, well, but Donald Trump. Bret Baier asked her something, and she said, well, but because Donald Trump is running. And it had nothing to do with, none of the questions have anything to do with Donald Trump. The questions are to try to get clear and rational policy positions out of Kamala Harris. And it just hasn't happened anytime she speaks. And again, this is what I'm telling everybody the whole time. The Democrats and these establishment politicians, also those on the right, have been basically leaning on the media for, I think, their whole existence to propagandize the public and make them believe things that are not really true, that are partially true, or are true but are not really important. You know what I mean? And then therefore, that's why people in America have been voting on charisma and blackness and hairstyle and all kinds of these superficial things that really shouldn't be determinant in who is the president. The president does not have to look real good. The president doesn't have to have great hair. And now this problem has swooped over onto Donald Trump because now they've got, if you're judging people on character and what they say and how brash they are and they say mean things or write mean tweets, well, those are the wrong criteria to vote for president on, right? Almost anybody that I know that doesn't like Trump, if I ask them why should Trump not be president, it's always about, well, he's an asshole, he's a racist, he's this, he's mean to women, he's write mean tweets, he called Rosie O'Donnell a fat pig, and then they take all of the things that aren't even true. Oh, very fine people on both sides. All of that shit's being debunked, and they have the same excuses, but when you then ask them, who was your life better under, Biden, Harris, or Trump? They just clam up immediately. They refuse to answer because they know they're being pushed into a corner, and they know that you shouldn't be electing presidents based on these things. You know what I'm saying? To be really, look at the whole thing with Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. What a big ass deal that was. Look, I don't care who's sucking the president's dick. I don't care. It's not my business. I do not give a shit. What I care about is that the president is doing his job for the American people, or her job, if there ever is going to be a female president. And that's not what the people are basing their votes on. And that's how this political system, this political machine has been operating for decades. And the problem is now there's the internet, right? And the mainstream media or the corporate media is losing its grip on the narrative that the politicians and the government wants them to put out. And before the internet, we as people really had nowhere else to turn, so we had to we just kind of believed what the media was telling us. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's probably true. I mean, why wouldn't it be true, right? and their lives were good. There was no reason to contest any of this stuff. But now with the internet, people are getting information from all over the place. It's breaking the ability for these governments to be able to control the narrative. And now they have to actually work for the vote. They have to actually come up with policies. And yet, still there's people in America that will vote for Kamala Harris without her ever giving one policy position. And it's okay for these people that her argument on everything is, well, Donald Trump, but Donald Trump, it's Donald Trump, but Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. You know what I mean? It's maddening, right? So I really think that the Fox News should have really put her back to the wall. They should have backed her into a corner. That's their job as interviewers, but I'm guessing that probably wasn't going to be possible. And, you know, if I was Fox News, I would agree to all her things, and then when it's live, I would just put her in the corner anyway. You know, it's not like you ever have to worry about her coming on again. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? You've done the job for the American people by putting her feet to the fire, and she's proven herself to not be able to stand up to that. But they didn't do that, and she still couldn't stand up to it. Still, her only arguments were, but what, Donald Trump? So anybody that watched that interview, it's hilarious, but no, it's not hilarious. It's like, you know, it's funny to watch because she's such a bumbling idiot. She's a nitwit, really. She really is, you know? But it's not so funny because it is a serious thing, because people are actually basing their votes on this nonsense. So again, the same message over and over again until Election Day. Everybody that wants to retain freedom, everybody that doesn't want this nitwit running the show, has to get out and vote, no matter how the polls are showing, no matter how much it looks like Donald Trump is up and he's got it in the bag. You know, you still have to go out, you still have to do, you know, the deed and go out and pull the lever. Take the time to do it. Please, people, don't sit this one out. I think this is the most important election of all of our lifetimes. I know that's been said a lot, but it's like kind of adopted the boy who cried wolf syndrome now, because so many people have said that over and over again every election. They don't see that this is really the one, and it is. So everybody's got to get out there and vote. Everybody's got to go out and do it, and then we will win for sure, right? The vote has got to be a turnout. The turnout's got to be so big that there's just no way to cheat the vote, and that's what I would expect of everybody that cares about their own family, their country, and the state of freedom and democracy, in quotes, as a whole, should go out and do the right thing. I mean, Donald Trump has taken a bullet for everybody. He's gone through, hell with court cases and all kinds of craziness, lawfare, and he's done his part, right? And he will continue to do his part, but the American people have got to come out and support him. They've got to come out and do the vote. Go to vote. That's the message. All right, the second story I want to get into today is I read it in the Epoch Times that Keir Starmer in the UK apparently made an investment in Eli Lilly, one of the bigger pharma companies. And they also make a weight loss drug. I'm not quite sure what it's called, but that's not the point. The point is they make also a weight loss shot, kind of like Ozempic, which is really popular in the States. It's so popular, apparently, that they're trying to put little children on it that are overweight, instead of making them go exercise and, you know what I mean? And eat right and lower their calorie intake and sweets intake and sugar intake. The easiest way for America, of course, is to, again, take this new wonder drug that's going to make people lose weight. And it is working, right? It is working, except we know already that there are like major negative side effects for these drugs, and putting fat little kids on it is insane to me, especially after what we learned during COVID with these mRNA shots that are not vaccines, but are being still purported to be vaccines. It's the first vaccine that doesn't protect you against the thing that you're being vaccinated against. That's pretty crazy, right? That's pretty crazy. So, the new weight loss shots are very, very tempting for everybody. Look, I mean, I've got a couple of kilos to drop. It would be much easier. I would, hell, it's tempting. You know what I mean? I think, hell, fuck, I could eat all the burgers I want and all the cake I want if I just take this shot every week. But I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that. Anybody who does is absolutely crazy. I would wait this out a couple of years at least to see what the negative side effects of it long term are. But the UK government and Keir Starmer are thinking, no, we're going to put obese people on these shots through the NHS, the National Health Service, which is a government healthcare, right? And his reason for this is we have to get the fat people back to work. Now, if people are so fat in Britain that they can't work, that's pretty bad, right? And in that case, Ozempic or something like it, whatever the drug is Eli Lilly makes, might actually be a good idea, because these people are, if they can't work, right, if they can't do any job, then they're so fat that they're on the verge of dying. And in that case, you can measure the risk reward, right? You can say, okay, well, the guy's going to die because of overeating, or we put him on this experimental new drug that will make him lose weight and at least pull them off the precipice of dying. So if you look at it like that, maybe it's a good idea. You know what I mean? But what's crazy, I don't know if they're going to mandate it, you know what I mean? But that's the thing with government healthcare, right? I'm all for, I think that tax money should be spent also on healthcare for people, that everybody has the same level of healthcare, the same opportunity to get healthcare or get treatment for certain diseases or, certain problems. I don't think that people should have to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month for insurance for healthcare, only to find out that if there's a real problem, cancer or some sort of issue that's long-term, that suddenly the insurance company won't cover it, even though you pay them hundreds of dollars a month. I think that's a crazy system. I think healthcare is a necessity, and I think that tax money would better be spent on a healthcare system for the citizens that pay those taxes than it would going to Israel and Ukraine and Lebanon and all these wars and all this shit that nobody really wants to pay for, but is being paid for without our consent. I think that there should be a government healthcare for all everywhere in Western democracies, for sure. Now, the problem with that, though, is then you've got the problem of which government, what kind of politicians are then running these healthcare systems. See, because the problem with government healthcare is they'll control it, right? They control it. So now not an insurance company, now they decide what's going to be covered if you're too old to have a certain operation, so it's just not monetarily worth it, so just let you die. Or if you have to take a certain shot or not, right? It surprises me that the UK government didn't mandate the COVID shot under the guise of government healthcare. In other words, if you want government healthcare, you will have to take this shot. Otherwise, you are a risk to the system, and then you won't be covered. Then you won't be able to get healthcare. That's the risk of government healthcare. Now, I guess the British government didn't do that, which they are to be applauded for. But now you've got them talking about taking weight loss shots to get fat people back to work, which I think is a complete over-exaggeration. What they should be doing is, mandating these people run a mile every day, or mandating their calorie intake, or some shit like that, in order to make them lose weight, not get them on some sort of new experimental weight loss drug that seems to be the wonder drug for fat people. You know what I mean? That makes no sense. Again, I'm not saying they're going to mandate it. In the article I read about it, they didn't say anything about mandating. They just said this was a great opportunity to get fat people back to work, which I thought was crazy, because in the trucking business, unfortunately, we do see a shitload of fat guys, right? They're sitting in their truck all day long. They barely exercise. They barely move. And out of boredom, they eat all day. I mean, I don't eat all day, for sure. I mean, there's days I don't eat anything until dinner because I want to lose weight, right? But it is tempting. You do get bored. You're like, oh, there's a rest stop here. There's a McDonald's there. Oh, there's KFC. Oh, you know what I mean? It's tempting to stop everywhere and eat something. And a lot of the truckers do. A lot of them are morbidly obese. You know what I mean? They almost don't even fit in their truck seat anymore, but they can work, right? They can work. And here in Germany, you could easily go on the dole, go on the welfare programs. But yeah, the welfare program, as good as it is, does not earn as much money as driving a truck does. Not even close, right? So the trucking money is pretty good. And, the welfare program won't replace that money-wise. So this idea that fat people can't work seems crazy to me. And then the solution by the government is, hey, let's sponsor another pharma company and let them make another couple $1 billion by introducing this drug into the National Health Service so that fat people, at this point, as far as I know, can take it in order to lose weight, to get back into the workforce. The advice I've got for every fat person in Britain that's getting ready to go on this program, look, don't do it. You know what I mean? Don't do it. Lose weight the regular way. It really is quite simple. I know that people hate hearing this. I'm not a health expert at all. I'm not a weight loss expert, but I can do math and I know a little about biology, right? And the fact is, it is calories in, calories out, period. No matter what kind of diet, blah, 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 it doesn't matter. What matters is, how many calories are you eating a day? I eat pretty much what I want, but within measure, right? So, yes, I will have Burger King, I will have McDonald's, but I don't have Burger King and McDonald's. I don't have Burger King for breakfast and Burger King for lunch and Burger King for dinner. You know what I mean? I have Burger King once in a while, just once a day. You know what I'm saying? And it is really, you can eat pretty much whatever you want, just can't eat like the whole bag of chips or the whole cake. It's calories in, calories out. You can do it without this shot. And the reason why I'm saying this is because we have no reason at all to trust any one of these pharma companies anymore for anything, especially not with novel stuff. They've done stuff in the past that have definitely had good effect, saved a lot of lives. Medicine they come up with, some of it's pretty good. And vaccines they come up with in the past, some of them are pretty good. But since COVID, and we know the lie about the mRNA vaccine, right? I think that we should approach these pharma companies with great, great scrutiny and not just jump on the next new drug bandwagon. It looks really great, right? But you don't know what the long-term side effects are going to be. And we know that the people making these drugs are not going to be completely honest. They never actually have. Most times when drugs are recalled, it's not because the company goes, wow, we made a mistake, guys. We shouldn't put this drug out. Something's happening. Let's recall it. No, it's recalled because they get sued, right? They get sued and have to pay the largest fines in criminal history for putting out drugs that either harm people severely or kill them and leaving them out there knowing that's what they're going to do. That's their MO. So I wouldn't trust, as much as tempting as the Ozempic kind of shit is, I would never, ever trust these pharma companies again without seeing results of other people taking the shit. You know what I'm saying? I need to see the real data. And the fact is, I know it sucks for everybody, but you can't trust the regulators. You can't trust the pharma companies. And so only take medicines and shots and stuff that are absolutely necessary for your survival. Being fat is, for most people, not an existential thing. They have the time and the ability to reduce the weight greatly if just by taking steps and having some discipline. You know, that's it. It's better to have discipline and work the weight off than it is to just jump on the bandwagon of some new drug made by a company you cannot trust, regulated by governments that you cannot trust. And we unfortunately learned all this. Well, actually, it's fortunate. It's good that we learned all this during COVID. And people would be mad to fucking just do this just because they see these immediate results and think, okay, well, that's fantastic. Remember always COVID, right? Remember the mRNA vaccine that doesn't vaccinate you against any shit that they're trying to vaccinate you against and has actually caused more harm than good for younger people. Now, of course, overweight people or severely elderly people with tons of comorbidities probably should have taken the COVID vaccine, or the COVID shot, let's say. It may have prevented them from dying. That's possible. But for regular, ordinarily healthy people, the COVID vaccine was more risk. Again, I'm calling it vaccine automatically. I'm sorry. The COVID shot did more harm than good. It served more risk than it did reward. And we never should have fallen for any of this crap that these people said. And who knows how many people in the past have fallen for other lies that these medical companies have put out regarding their products. Now, I understand that that's tough for a lot of people to swallow, because, well, how are you supposed to trust anybody then? You got to trust them. No, you don't really. You don't, because if you don't have to take a certain drug, because otherwise you may die, then you just don't take it and try to find another way to make yourself healthier. You know, it's crazy. Since I drove a truck, I started getting like pain in my upper shoulders, and I thought it was, like when I was sleeping, and when I got up, it was like all day, you know. And I thought, okay, well, I'm getting older. I have to sit in the truck all day. Maybe it's my posture. Maybe it's my mattress. I thought it was my pillows, and I fucking bought 100 different pillows, and we got a new mattress, and I tried to, pay attention to my posture. None of that shit really did anything. And then I started taking vitamin D, because it rains here a lot. It's gloomy here a lot. And I started taking vitamin D, and that pain has been gone ever since. Now, is that a direct correlation? Well, I think so, because I don't take any medication, nothing. I don't take any pharma drugs, anything at all. I don't ever go to the doctor. I don't do checkups. I don't do anything. I just live. I'm not unhealthy at all, even though I probably should be, because I've lived a fairly unhealthy lifestyle in my life. You know what I mean? And I'm just not. And I'm not a miracle, I don't think, And then I started taking vitamin D, and my back pain went away. Then I looked it up and thought, okay, is that even possible? Or am I just imagining that? And it is possible. It shows, there's studies that show that lack of vitamin D can have effect on your joints and muscles. And by taking the vitamin D, it was gone. And that was just by chance, because that's not why I started taking it. So again, guys, you don't have to immediately take some sort of crazy drug that's being prescribed to you. And I have to say, in Europe, that goes much better than in America, because there are barely any people here on SSRIs or taking Ambien or, running around with Xanax all day. That shit just doesn't happen here. You know what I'm saying? In order to get some sort of opiate for pain after an operation or something, you basically have to beg those fuckers, and even then, you may not get it. You get like high quality Motrin, you know what I mean? And it does work, you know what I'm saying? It does work. So you don't really need opiates for everything, Anyway, for the people in England that are getting ready to get on this program, again, I don't think it's mandated. I almost can't imagine that it will be. But, again, when a government is controlling the healthcare system, it is tricky. As much as I believe that government should be able to provide healthcare to their citizens through taxpayer money, because it's very important. It is tricky in the way that then governments control it, but it's not much different than insurance companies controlling it. Okay, so let's remember that. Okay, an insurance company can't mandate you. Wrong. Of course they can. They can say, hey, look, you're too much of a risk if you smoke too much, or you're too much of a risk if you're too fat and have 3 kinds of diabetes and you have cake for blood. You know what I mean? They could say, we are not going to insure you. They can. So the difference is really not that much, except for you're not going to be paying for it through the nose if you have government health care. So in that sense, I think that the British system is pretty good. But again, we have to be vigilant in who we are electing to run our countries. That's very important. So if this is offered to you in England, these weight loss drugs, in order to get back to work, why don't you just say, oh, I'll tell you what, I'll get back to work. I'm not going to take this drug. I'm going to start losing weight by exercising and eating less, and then I'll get back to work, right? Don't fall for the trap, no matter how good the government sells it, because as we know, they're not on your side. And this Keir Starmer government in England is definitely not on your side. These people are tyrants. We know they're tyrants because of the mass censorship they're engaged in, and the fact that they're letting out pedophiles of prison to put in Facebook posters, right? And they are allowing an invasion of the UK by illegal immigrants that don't belong there, do not mix with the culture at all. And so that type of government is one to scrutinize heavily, and the moment you get the chance to vote, you start voting these people out of office and start electing people that have your best interest at heart. People have to be involved and stay involved. That's what I got. All right? Pretty crazy. In America, like I said, they're trying to put 6-year-olds on Ozempic, which is insane. It's insane. You know, no matter what you say, it's insane. That's madness. Pay attention, people. You can't trust these pharma companies. Only trust them if you have no other choice. That's what I would say. That's my advice. All right? So, people, that was it for today. Hopefully, we'll see you on tomorrow's Insanity Report. The weekend's coming up. That's real great. And if you want to get any of my videos, any of my articles into your inbox directly, all you have to do is subscribe to my Substack below. You can do it for free. You can do it for $5 a month. I'd really appreciate that. And then you'll get it all centrally into your email inbox, which is the best way to do it because you won't miss anything, right? And you can pick and choose what you want to watch or read. So that's the way to go. If you're watching this on another platform, go ahead and follow me there. But in the end, it's easier for everybody if you just go to it'sallaboutlogic.substack.com. It'sallaboutlogic.substack.com and subscribe there. That would be the best. So catch you guys in the next one.